And I'd like to welcome everyone to our really, really wonderful session today called Let's Go to Japan with Food Allergies, where we're going to try to answer as many questions that you have on going to one of these most beautiful countries in the world. So I've heard. And my goal today is to become convinced that I need to go to Japan. I've never been, but we have an expert today, not only on the world of food allergy, but someone who's well versed in traveling and has been to Japan and has a lot to share with us. And that is Julianne Ponan. Before I fully introduce her, I just wanted to go through a few little housekeeping things. We're going to try to give you as much info as possible today, but we are not medical professionals. If you're looking for any specific advice for your situation, please see your own allergist or doctor. I'm the the founder and CEO of Equal Eats. I am from Canada. I live in Slovenia. I love to travel. Japan is on there my list. I haven't gone that far to that side of the world, and I hope to. But my allergies are peanuts, tree nuts, egg, seafood, and mustard. I'd also like to introduce Karina Montagny, who will be helping out with the chat today. And if you have a question, she is on it. So, hey, Karina, thank you for joining us today.
Hi everyone. I'm really excited to be here today. I've never been to Japan, so I really want to hear what Julianne has to say. I'm the marketing manager at Equal Eats, and my connection to food allergies is through my children. My son is 12 years old and he has severe food allergies to peanuts, tree nuts, sesame, fish, and shellfish. My daughter has oral allergy syndrome, and they both have asthma and environmental allergies. We love traveling. We have been around to several countries in Europe, but we haven't been as far away as Japan. So today is really exciting.
Thanks, Karina. I'm glad you're here. And just to introduce Equal Eats, we're a company that creates allergy and dietary translation cards. We now have 58 languages available. We use professional translators, human expert proofreaders, and native speaker reviewers to make sure everything that we put out is incredibly accurate. So we have durable plastic cards, print at home PDFs, and an app as well that you can toggle your allergies to different languages. I'm also the co-admin of the Allergy Travels group, where if you're looking for specific information on maybe it's one particular city in Japan or anywhere in the world, it's a great group where you can get crowdsourced information. So highly recommend that if you're not part of it already. And the other resource I just wanted to mention is that we do have a great travel checklist at Equal Eats that can help you prepare for any trip anywhere in the globe on a chronological packing list order here. So Karina, if you don't mind posting a link to that at some point, it'd be helpful. And without further ado, I want to introduce our main speaker today, who has graciously offered to spend all of this time today answering your questions, whether you have been to Japan before or whether it's kind of on your bucket list or upcoming trip. Today's your day to ask a true seasoned travel expert. So Julianne is the founder and CEO of Creative Nature. And if you haven't had Creative Nature before, this brand is incredible. I know it's safe for me, and I know the incredible lengths to go to make sure that it's safe for our community. And it's just delicious. It's a global top 14 allergy-free brand inspired by her own anaphylaxis and multiple allergies. Her award-winning products are stocked in major UK supermarkets. They're served on leading airlines now. Congratulations, that's so great. I can't wait to fly and eat Creative Nature, and exported to 16 countries around the world. Amazing. Recognized with an MBE in the King's New Year's honors and named to Forbes 30 under 30. She's a passionate advocate for allergy awareness and inclusion that I know. Really impressive. She's spoken at the House of Parliament in the UK, appeared on BBC, Sky News, and other national media to campaign for safer food, along with working with airlines to ensure that flying is safer for our community. And if that's not enough, beyond Creative Nature, Julianne serves as a GS1 UK non-executive director, the FSB export policy champion, and was appointed, I love this, MedicaLert's first ambassador in 65 years. What a resume. Julianne Ponan, we are so delighted that you're here to join us today. I'm going to switch to your slides and officially welcome you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kyle. I'm so excited. I absolutely love Equally. I remember meeting you for the first time, and being just so impressed with what you had created and also your wonderful team. Karina, I've known for quite some time now, with her amazing son as well, and daughter. But yes, it's amazing to be here today, and hopefully I can give you the real Japan that I experienced, because I was genuinely terrified to go, and I would never have done it if it wasn't for work. And actually, I'm so glad that I added on an extra week to experience the country, because it was magical. And I hope that I can inspire others to take that leap of faith and take that trip and hopefully enjoy what I enjoyed.
I was saying before this even started, it's a place I'm very interested in, but I feel like today I am going to get the motivation to go from 1 to 10. So I am going to book a trip and go to Japan. And I think I might share a little bit of that same fear that you originally felt. Maybe before we dive in, why was this a place that you were terrified of?
I felt that with my specific allergies, so I'm allergic to peanuts, tree nuts, sesame, buckwheat, chickpeas, lentils. Those are the major ones. And in Japanese cuisine in particular, sesame is used a lot of the time. So is peanut oil, and nuts are not always used, but they like to add them to enhance the flavor. So those were some of the key ones. And then also buckwheat. Buckwheat is a big thing for me, but actually I found that in Japan they actually cater for that allergen. So that is one of their 28. So it was actually better for me than I expected. But before I was going, everyone I'd spoken to in the industry was saying, I don't think you should go. And I started to get really scared, and I started to go question myself. I even got to the point where I wanted to pull out and send someone else in my place. And we were actually asked to come over by the British Embassy. So they had asked us to come over and showcase our products, as allergies in Japan are growing very, very rapidly, to specifically peanuts, buckwheat, some dairy as well, and egg. So I think that I kind of just had to go because of work. And so by having that push that not everyone else might have, I think that was the thing that made me actually physically go. But I was very worried just because everything I'd read, and it is a long flight. That's another key reason. And everyone will say, oh, well, you've done flights to the Caribbean and that's 10 hours. And I said, yeah, but Japan's quite a bit further. And the amount of time we were on a flight was 16 hours. And we had a stopover still as well. So it was quite grueling. And unfortunately, I would say in total, the flight was the worst part. So if you can get through the flight, I really recommend going, because everything else felt like very much smooth sailing from the time I touched down.
Yeah, if you can get through 16 hours of anything sitting down, then kudos to you. Well, that's really amazing that you gave yourself the chance to overcome this and tackle it. And I am so excited to hear some of your tips and how you did that and what you've learned along the way. So, yeah, walk us through Japan.
Yeah, I wanted to sort of discuss like what are the stats in Japan? Because a lot of people go, oh, well, they won't understand allergies out there. I was pleasantly surprised. I was 7.4 million people in Japan have a food allergy. It's not a huge country as well. And the top four allergens over there, as I mentioned, is egg, milk, buckwheat as well, and peanut. And then in terms of the rise in allergies, at the moment it's 6.3% of children, which isn't too high, but it's still growing. I mean, from 5 years ago, that was around 3%. So it's doubling, which is quite a lot. And then and as you can see, 1.7 times children with food allergies, like it is doubling there. So by unfortunately the amount of people that are suffering from it now, it's becoming more mainstream, so that more people from the UK or from Canada or from wherever can actually visit, because they have procedures in place and also they have food available. because as soon as there's a high percentage of people suffering from something, the country wants to do something about it and have a solution. And I do think that's why some countries where you can visit, where it's not as well known, it might just be because the population don't suffer from allergies. So I'm sure many of you have heard of the story in Israel where they have they have like the lowest rate of peanut allergies, and that's because they get introduced to a product called Bamba, which is like a peanut puff from very, very young. And apparently that has controlled their children with diagnosis to a peanut allergy. So they don't have as many things in place, and also it is a lot harder to eat out without peanuts being included in that dish. So I think that's, to begin with, that's the stats in Japan. Did you have any questions on that, Kyle, at all?
Well, I think you're absolutely right that there's unfortunately a power in numbers in the food allergy world that I remember just growing up way back in the 80s. It was not as prevalent. The awareness was not as high. And as a consequence, even just growing up in Canada, it made it tough to speak out. You didn't know how it was going to be received. It wasn't creative nature and other allergy-friendly products, so it did make it difficult. But it seems like there is a road being paved in Japan and in other countries around the world that's making it a little bit easier. Um, I don't know if you noticed in your visit, but because of the increase, the doubling in prevalence for children, are there more policies going into place in schools and more society structures like that?
Definitely. Unfortunately, was speaking to quite a few people out there in businesses in particular about how they handle allergies in schools. And I just got a call with a distributor this morning that we're actually going to be supplying Creative Nature into. So that's exclusive news that we'll be supplying into Japan in November time, which is so, so, so exciting. But they were specifically talking to me about, at the moment, still in schools, how they cater for allergens is they remove the child from the class and get them to sit on their own, which isn't good. But they are wanting to do more. So the government have put in place a 28 allergen system where you have to declare any food that you're supplying in, whether it has any of those 28 allergens. However, on pack, if the packaging is small, you only have to declare, I think it's around 8 of those. So it is quite difficult to navigate when you're out there, because when you're looking at Google Translate, you're going, oh, but there's 28 allergens. However, they're only listing these allergens, but actually it's missing one of the ones in the full 28. So it can become quite difficult at times. But yeah, I think Karina's just put in the mandatory allergen labeling in Japan, but it's very, very interesting on how it works and how it works with what size your packaging is as well, because that's really, really important. One of the odd ones as well is things like abalone, which is very different to what we would ever have in the UK, and oranges, for example. But I think that is because those are things that are eaten very, very regularly in Japan, so they have to declare those items. So yes, the answer to your question is they are doing so much. I'd love to talk to you later on in the webinar about Universal Studios and how my allergy was dealt with and what was in place in terms of the paperwork to assure me, first of all, that I was safe to eat, and secondly, enable the staff to communicate properly, because it was phenomenal. If we could get that in the UK, I would love it.
Amazing. And I can't wait to hear all your stories. And just a reminder, anybody who's joining live, please feel free just to type in any questions you have at any point. We will get to all the questions. So you can just put them in the chat and we'll just kind of sprinkle them in throughout today. So this has made it very relatable that, whether it's a UK, US, Canada, there is a similar prevalence. There's things going on to keep people safe, but it is Japan. Different language, different characters, very, very, very different. So I'm looking forward to hearing how you navigated, but maybe you could talk about how you got to where you are right now to even before going to Japan.
Yeah, I guess it's taking my story back, because everyone always sort of asks, well, where did it all begin? And I guess for me, it was when I first had anaphylaxis. I don't remember the first time at all. It was when I was 2, and I'm so glad I don't remember that because I would probably be have so much more fear now. But the one I did remember was when I was a little bit older, and I always felt at school that I was missing out on things. I always felt that I was given a different type of food, or had to sit at a different table, or couldn't go on the residential trip because I had my severe allergies. And I wanted to make an impact. I was very worried my whole life of, well, if I was to go tomorrow, what impact would I have made on the world? As I think everyone has the capability to make an impact, on whether that be one person's life or many people's lives. And for me, I wanted to make an impact to the people that I knew would have been through the same thing as me, the parents that are worried all the time that their child might have an allergic reaction, and then also the child that feels left out because he's not able to have a birthday cake. And that's why I really started Creative Nature, was to become that inclusive brand, because food is all about sharing. It's Christmas time, Easter, birthdays. Every time there is a celebration, it seems to be everyone eats food. So I wanted to create something that everyone could. And I think that's why Equal Eats is so important too. And I think that's why our journeys are quite, in a way, synonymous, because you can't eat out safely without communicating. And communication is so key in every aspect of life. And Equal Eats gives you that superpower of being able to communicate with someone, whatever language they speak. And it sounds silly, but I always used to want to push in schools that everyone had to learn sign language, because that way the whole world would be able to talk to each other about their allergies, for example. But instead of that, you created something better, which means we can speak in any language and communicate.
I love the thing that binds us is not only our allergic immune systems, but the fact that inclusion is so deep for us as a purpose. For you, it's the inclusion of being able to just be with others and share food that's safe, and not let that be a barrier. And for me, inclusion is very similar, being able to dine out, to go places where other people go and enjoy those same experiences. So we've both created tools and products that can help facilitate that inclusion, which I really appreciate about you. So amazing pictures here. Please tell us about this incredible experience on the right here.
I couldn't believe this even happened. When I got an email saying I got an MBE, I thought it was a scam and deleted it. And the cabinet called me and said, "Do you not want to accept your honour?" And I honestly couldn't believe it. But the best part of it was, this is Princess Anne, and she spent so much time with me that day and knew about my story and asked about how I coped with allergies. And she already knew so much about allergies. And it meant that, wow, I've impacted enough people for the royal family to be able to go, yes, allergies matter. And I think that was a big thing for me. And my dad he just couldn't believe that this was happening, and my mum was there, and it was a beautiful event. And I just, anyone that was in the room that day, I honestly thought, am I in the wrong room? Because they had all done such incredible things. I just was in awe of all of them.
I am proud to know you. This is incredible.
Thank you. Well, I'm proud to know you too, Kyle, and Karina too.
So, you went to Japan can you walk us through how this work opportunity came? It was to represent British trade.
Yes. So I work very closely with the Department of Business and Trade in the UK, as we export to a lot of countries, and one of our big goals is to be able to impact other countries to make sure they have allergy safe products. We supply around 16 countries now, from sort of like the Middle East to Switzerland, etc. And Japan was always one that we'd looked at, but never really had the right connections. And we researched a lot into the Japanese market with the increase of allergens. And what we found was that if you were to do business in Japan, you would really need to go over there. The culture over there is very much a face-to-face culture. It's very, they want to see you, they want to speak to you, they're very polite. It's a face-to-face meeting goes a long way, a lot further than a Teams call, for example. And an opportunity came up where the British Embassy said, oh, your brand has been chosen alongside 20 other brands in the UK to represent British products in Japan. And you're the only top 14 allergen-free brand that will be going. Would you like this place? And first of all, I said, I'm not sure at the moment. It sounds like an incredible opportunity, but I was already thinking in my head, they're going to want me to go and they're going to want me to speak. And if I don't go in person, I could damage my relationship with the Department of Business and Trade. So I had to really, really think about whether I was going to do it. And I took it back to my team and they said, you are absolutely crazy if we pass this opportunity up. We've got an opportunity to go to Japan, see the country, understand the market, and also have meetings with buyers that the British Embassy has set up, and they've invited you into the embassy. Like, how could you not take that opportunity? And I thought, okay, they have a point. I've probably got to at least try and see if I could do it. And that's when I started the research into, okay, if I was to go to Japan, how could I physically do it? Would I need to take my own food? Who would I fly with? How would I communicate with people? I think those were my three major things. And with those things, I was most worried about the communication. Because if someone doesn't understand your allergy, suddenly you're in a situation where you're fearing whether you can eat that food that you've been given. And I was also told, which is very incorrect, that with the Japanese culture, they'll just say yes, even if they don't, even if it's not correct, for example, and they just want to please you. But that is not the case at all, or not what I experienced. Actually, I experienced the complete opposite. If they couldn't cater, they would go above and beyond to tell you why they couldn't cater for you and show you why they couldn't cater for you. This was on numerous occasions. And then physically go on the internet, find you a place, or ask people in as their staff members for recommendations and send you to a safer place, and even call up them. So it's very different to the UK, I think. I think sometimes you just get a no in the UK. No, sorry, we can't cater. This was above the service I've ever experienced, and I was the same paying customer as anyone else.
That's really encouraging. So you started doing your research, and I imagine, you encountered a lot of this information early on to get your comfort. Our first question here is related in terms of how did you navigate the fact that they're not required to label all tree nuts, all the specific types of tree nuts? Did you encounter that at all?
Yes, I did. And that's where the Equal Eats card came in. I cannot thank you enough for the translations and the translations being correct. This is really, really an important point I want to go through, because there's so many translators that you can use. However, if they are incorrect, it's very hard to communicate. We actually paid for a translator to translate our documentation on our brand. However, when we took it to Japan and we sat in front of very high up people at the British Embassy, they pointed out to us how this was incorrect, how they've translated it. And we used a very reputable company. I'm not going to mention who, but we used a company that we thought would be correct. And it was a paid for service. So Equal Eats, being able to guarantee that that is correct, it enables you to go, okay, I'm allergic to tree nuts, for example, and you can put in on the app, you can add in all the individual ones if you want as well, which I find really, really useful. I actually lost my Japanese Equal Eats card while I was out there at one of the restaurants, which I left it. The chef had taken it and I had left the venue. For breakfast, I then had to, I was searching through my bag frantically, and I was like, I can't find the Equal Eats card. Oh my gosh, what am I going to do? And this is why I say the app is actually really, really important, because you can literally write everything in straight away there and then, and you've got it, and you can just hold your phone to the waiter, waitress, or whoever that might be, and it makes it super, super easy, and you can drill down into each allergen very, very easily. So that's what happened. My Japanese card actually got returned to me. That's another thing. It is the safest place you can ever think of, because they found my details, they contacted me, they called me, and they returned my card to me. So again,
Amazing.
Another great experience.
Amazing. Well, I wouldn't feel bad about the translations. I've learned over time that it really just takes more eyes and more work on translations than that first line of translators. And that's why we use a proofreader after our initial translation. But I find the most valuable step is we get a native speaker review at the end, and they are telling us this is how it is on the street, if you will, how a 17-year-old server would interpret. And sometimes you get really high level terminology from a professional translator that's not translating to 17-year-old food service speak. And it's these little nuances that make it really difficult. We have a follow-up question. So I guess see if we answer this. The fact that they're not required to label all tree nuts. So your Equal Eats card helped out with that. Did you notice tree nuts showing up a lot in Japanese food? Is it a big concern there?
I wouldn't say that one was as big a concern. I didn't find it as difficult in particular. Almond showed up quite a few times. That was in a lot of the salads, things like that, and cashew nuts. But I'm sure that's as one of their recommended, that they say that they will, if you ask about it, they will definitely be able to tell you whether that's in it. In terms of other tree nuts, sort of like Brazil nuts, pistachio, things like that, I didn't find that was difficult, and I'm highly allergic to pistachio, especially with this whole Dubai chocolate craze. I think that I've been quite worried about that in particular when eating chocolate. So I didn't see that in Japanese food really at all. There were obviously the odd things that if you wanted to try a novel product. So for example, they would have a lot of these like I don't know what they call melon bread, I think they call it, how it translates. And within that, they can sometimes use things like almond flour again. And that's something they're on the like street food vendors. They do this like specific viral melon bread that people on TikTok are going crazy for. I didn't personally try it because they showed me that it had almond and you could choose to have it without it, but I didn't feel safe to do that. But it was interesting to see it, and that was all down Doton Buri Street. It's an absolutely phenomenal place to go. If you go to Japan, you definitely have to go to that street. It's sort of like New York meets Amsterdam. It's got like a canal in the middle, but then you've got all the high-rise light buildings on the side. And I think I have a picture later, but there's even a Ferris wheel, but it's not in the shape of a Ferris wheel. It's like rectangular, so it's really, really cool.
Neat. Well, let's get into the stories. I just have one final question in terms of tree nuts. We get a lot of customers that ask us, should we just make a card that just says nuts or tree nuts or list individual nuts, just to be very specific of what tree nuts and nuts are? For Japan, would you have a recommendation of it's okay to be general or get more specific?
If I was to go back and do my Japanese card again, I would like the individual ones. I obviously that saying that is it's a lot to put on the card, and that's what makes it quite difficult at times. But it just enables you, if you, for example, I'm allergic to majority of tree nuts, but other people might only be allergic to, for example, walnuts and cashews. So I would definitely recommend they put that on there, and separate peanut out. Please, please, I can't stress that enough. It needs to be separated. Don't just put all nuts, because there is a confusion. I faced it a couple of times, mainly in sort of big like business type events that I was going to. They didn't understand nuts as a whole. They would need the individual, yet your 17-year-old server would understand it completely. So it was very odd how that was.
Interesting. So being specific can help.
Yeah.
Look at these pictures here. I'm just like, I want to go now. This is all I needed to see is you in Mario World all of a sudden. So walk us through what was Osaka like, and this is where Universal Studios. Walk us through this.
Yeah, so I'll tell you about how we did our trip as well, because we were obviously with the delegates of the British Embassy, and what we did was we decided to go to Osaka first, then Kyoto, and then Tokyo, and then back to Osaka and fly back. So we did like a full round trip, and I definitely recommend you do each of those areas. I know it sounds crazy, but the bullet trains, the Shinkansen, literally get you there so quickly. You wouldn't, and they're never late. They're always on time. You get there quickly, and it's like a different world in each city, and it's incredible to see. Osaka, I would say for me, the highlights in particular, of course, Universal Studios. I'm a big Harry Potter fan. In particular, they have Harry Potter World there. It's different to Orlando's because I got engaged actually at Orlando's at Harry Potter World. The reason why it's different is they have all very, very unique food. So they've tried to copy the British, like toad in the hole type food as well, but they also have their own Japanese twist on everything. And I think that is super, super cool, to be able to try lots of different things. This, for example, the Jaws dog. I never thought I would be able to have this. I was like, I went up to the counter and Matt was like, do not get your hopes up. He said, there's no way you're going to have that. He said, that's a novelty food and it's it's too difficult. And I said, let's just try. Let's see. Like what I'd become more confident by this point to ask questions. Because at the beginning, my first day, I didn't even want to eat outside the hotel. I brought a suitcase full of food and I ate the food I brought in my suitcase. I just couldn't.
Yep.
And that's okay. Like everyone who's hopefully listening to this, like it's okay to have that first day wobble of I can't do this. I can't physically go out. I've got off a 16-hour flight. I don't feel comfortable eating out today. That's fine. You can do that. And they also have microwaves and kettles and basically a full kitchen in every hotel. So it's amazing in Japan and you can request anything you would like. So I found it really easy to get anything I needed. But anyway, back to the Jaws dog. The Jaws dog, what I did was this was the first time I was eating in Universal. And of course, Matt says I have to be difficult and go for something that's different. So I went up to the counter and I had the Equal Eats card and I was obviously speaking in English straight away because I don't speak any Japanese. And I handed over my card and she said, "Oh, she said 1 minute," and she Basically went to get her manager, which literally took a couple of seconds. It was so quick. I've never seen something like that happen that quickly. And she said, "Oh, we have a procedure here." She used her phone basically to translate it all to me, and said, "We have a procedure. You need to fill in this form." And I was thinking, "Oh gosh, is it going to be huge?" It was a small form, and it had all the 28 allergens on there. I had to circle each of my own allergens, and then also underneath it said, "If you have any other allergens, can you please write them here?" And she then wrote them on there for me in Japanese, using my Equal Eats card. I then ticked it all. It basically just said, "Oh, you confirm these are your allergens, and we will then provide you the relevant information to eat at the store." And I was thinking, okay, so they're going to just say no. They reviewed the form, and immediately they said, "Yep, you can eat all of it." I said, "That's absolutely fine." They said, "There's no cross-contamination." Said, "This is how it's made." They even detailed how it was made, to the point where how the flour's made, how it's binded, the machinery that can be that's used. I just couldn't believe it, if I'm honest. And then to top it all off, this is a system. They then scan it into their electronic, it's like an iPad, but I guess not. They scan it in, and then it informs every single eating establishment on the park of your allergies. So when you go to the next place you want to eat at, they already have everything. You don't have to
No
do
way.
anything for the rest of the day. And even if you come back tomorrow or the next day and you buy a 3-day pass, you're fine. How cool is that?
I love that. Why can't that be across the world?
Exactly. They don't even do that in the US, because I didn't have that when I went to Orlando. But yeah, they take it really seriously. And they weren't getting annoyed at all about the allergen. They just said, "Yep." And no one in the queue was getting annoyed. Everyone was just like, yeah, everyone was lovely. And they said they would wait, even though obviously they had to process all of those things. The other people in the queue said, "No, no, we won't push in. We'll just wait in line." It's incredible.
That is incredible. Wow.
Um,
So, all right. So, Universal Studios is top of my list in Japan after hearing
and
that.
you've got to go to Mario Land if you go. So there's Mario Land there. It was the first one. I think Orlando's now opened one. But this was the first one, and you get to go in at night and in the day, and it feels like you're physically in Mario Land, genuinely, like in the video game.
That's amazing. Do they have the video game music blasting the whole time too?
Yeah, that gets a bit annoying, but you can go around, and they have for kids especially. So if you do have kids, they have these power-up bands, so you can physically play the video game. Around the whole thing, there's these boxes that you tap your power-up band on, and you earn points as you go around, and then you collect prizes. And for example, there's a little Yoshi calzone, there's a Donkey Kong hot dog, there's so many things that you get to experience, and none of it stops you with the allergies. In fact, they're more accommodating because they want you to have a good time.
Amazing. I know you have the next slide's on Japan, sorry, on Tokyo. Did you want to talk through any of these other amazing spots on Osaka before we move on?
I think so. Osaka, yeah. In terms of Dotonbori, I think I mentioned Namba Market is amazing as well. Again, you'll see my picture there with the fish.
Hmm.
It's called yakitori. I think it's called, and it's a pastry, but the pastry is really salty, and then inside I chose cheese, and then it's got maple syrup in. I thought it was going to be absolutely horrible, but it tasted so amazing. And yeah, that costs under £2, and that's another thing. The price for food is, I mean, to be completely allergen safe and be able to eat that, I thought I was going to have to pay a lot more, but I didn't.
Very reasonable. Good to hear.
Yeah, in terms of the other ones, Cinnamon Roll Cafe, if you love Hello Kitty, you will be able to go to this unique cafe. And then in terms of the transport in Japan, I recommend the Suica card. Sometimes it's only available in certain areas, but definitely get one. It's so cheap to get transport there. It always runs really smoothly. It's super easy. I don't know if any of you know Squid Games, but they have these like triangle, circle things, and it just makes you get into the certain lines of the train, and you just literally queue on and you get on. No one ever pushes. You don't feel claustrophobic. It's fantastic.
Neat. Just different systems. That's amazing. Very cool. Okay, well, I would love to hear about, this is a place, oh, Kyoto, that I would love to know more about. So what was special to you about Kyoto?
Kyoto feels like you're going into a different world. It's more like the older Japan, I would say.
Mm.
It's very natural. It's very different to like Osaka or Tokyo. It's the beauty there is just in abundance. If you love nature, definitely go here. A lot of walking, but I like walking, so I quite enjoy it. It makes you feel, I don't know, rejuvenated. There's lots of things to do that aren't food orientated as well. So like, if you're worried about eating out and things like that, you don't have to. Like this is a place that you can go on the Sagano romantic train, and it is amazing. It costs you like £5, and you can get this open air carriage, and you just go all the way around in Kyoto, and you can see the river below you, which is the Hozu River. And on the way back, you can always get the boat ride back, and it's got little rapids and stuff. So it's quite exciting, but it's also not too exciting that you're gonna like fall out or anything like that. So it's great for kids. I would say the Ariyashima bamboo forest. Now everyone goes on about this. I personally thought it was beautiful. So there's a picture there of me standing in it and just showing how big the bamboo trees were. But actually, if you walk around 25 minutes down the road away from this forest, there's a secret bamboo forest near the Otaji Nebutsuji temple. I'm butchering that name, but it's near there, and it's worth the 25 minutes you have to walk because there's no one there. It's like as if no one wants to walk that extra 25 minutes, but it's beautiful, it's serene, and it's got, I don't know, like a character that you just can't see anywhere else in the world. And near there is the temple, and each one of those sculptures that you can see in the left, they're all made by hand. Like each person's done them and put their own personality into them. And there's over 1,200 of them, and they each look different. So it's such a beautiful place to go. And I really think that these look like the trolls in Frozen. I don't know if you've seen
Oh,
Frozen,
yeah.
the Disney movie, but I think they've taken it from here because they're all like smiling and doing different things. And yeah, I think it's a fantastic place to go to visit. Um, and it's all pretty affordable. I mean, nothing really cost us over £5 to go, which I think is very very affordable for people wanting to maybe not spend too much where it's very expensive at Universal to get the pass. This is a better take on it. I do recommend a couple of days in Kyoto as well. It's close enough to Osaka that you can just get the train back every day. But if you can stay in Kyoto, there's so many little cute little shops. They're like tiny. They only seat like two people to eat. And so the service is very one-on-one as well. And most people go out and eat on their own. Like you don't need a partner to eat. It's a culture of you're coming to eat. You're not coming to have to eat with someone else. So I found that quite interesting as well. And then finally, I wanted to mention the women-only train carriages. And I thought this was quite interesting and quite cool in a way because it gives, especially late at night, so the trains run very late, and it all feels so safe. And I always feel very scared late at night in London. When I'm coming back home, I've always sort of got my headphone in one ear and sort of calling my other half or something to make sure that I'm getting back safely. I didn't feel this at all in Japan, and there were so many women that did use this area, and no one ever goes in this area. So I just thought I would mention it as a, if you are traveling solo as a woman, you'll feel very safe to do so.
Wonderful. I've never heard of that before, but I love it. What a great concept. Um, Another question, just asking again about tree nuts, and with all of the restaurants, whether they're a two-seater restaurant or bigger, did you find any that were nut-free? Was that an easy ask, or did you have to navigate most places where nuts were present?
Most places weren't completely nut free. However, they had a completely top 14, well, not top 14, top 28 allergen free area within the store. So, for example, where I went to have ramen for the first time, I could see that they had nuts, cashews in particular, on the menu. And I was very, very concerned. And they physically showed me how they were going to prepare my food, and showed me it was a different pot, different fryer, different area. So I felt very safe being able to eat at that specific restaurant. I don't, I didn't come across any that were 100% didn't handle any nuts at all. And I did ask on a few occasions, but majority of them you could physically see on the menu that they did have nuts.
Well, it sounds like just speaking up is the key there, and seeing what accommodations can come when you just speak up.
Well, yeah, I mean, I had mochi for the first time. I don't know if anyone's had mochi. In the UK, I can't have it because it has a may contain nuts or has tree nuts in, like Little Moons has tree nuts in. So it was the first time I ever tried it, and I was so skeptical. But yeah, using the Equal Eats card again, that's the picture there. It was the first time I ever tried it, and they actually don't use nuts in majority of their mochi.
Excellent. One follow-up question. Do you remember the name of that ramen restaurant?
Yes, it's on my Instagram. I've taken a picture of it, so you can have a look at that video, and the name is in there. And I think I've even put a pin to where it was.
Oh, excellent. So on your personal Instagram,
Yes, yeah, on my
you can
personal
put a
one.
link for that. All right. Great follow-up question. All right. So then on to Tokyo. Wow. So tell us about Tokyo with food allergies.
Tokyo is absolutely crazy. I would say I've never seen a city that's so busy and buzzing. Even New York, I couldn't even compare it to it. Um, in terms of with food allergies, I really wanted to try hot pot for the first time. And for those of you who don't know what hot pot is or haven't tried it, it's where you have a dish in the middle, and you cook on like like a hob in the middle of the table with everyone, and you put in all your vegetables and any if you eat meat or if you eat tofu, whatever you would like, you have that all fresh and you put it in, and then you make your own little dip to dip it into. Obviously, with allergies, you have to make sure you're going with a select amount of people that agree to only put things that you can have in the dish. That's the only way to do it. We did check before I went as well on the allergies in particular, for any nuts. This was the restaurant that said they didn't handle nuts. This was the only one at the time. However, saying that, I saw that they did have an ice cream that did have nuts in.
Really?
So the question there was, because it was a packaged ice cream, I think what they had understood was there any nuts in the hot pot, as in any ingredients that would be added. So I think there may have been a slight miscommunication there. So I do think it is nut free. However, just if you take it with a pinch of salt, if you're going up to get any desserts, because they do have packaged ice cream, and there is there is nuts included in that. But the hot pot experience is incredible, and it's all you can eat, so you can keep going and getting everything's in its own little boxes, so you don't like cross contaminate or anything. So you get given your little skewers and you have to use them only. And yeah, you can have noodles, we had a lot pak choy, we had a lot of the beef as well. We found that quite good, and it was really tender as well, and they slice it so thin. I've never seen beef sliced that thin, and it just would, as soon as you dip it in, it would completely cook within like a second.
Neat. What was the name of the hot pot restaurant? We have one question.
Oh my gosh, I have a picture. It's because they're all in Japanese. I don't know how to pronounce their names, but I do have a picture of it that I can send across.
Okay. And then you went to Harry Potter Akasaka Station? What is that?
Oh, sorry, just a second.
And just amazing pictures here. And I love
Yes.
I'm very motivated to go, especially Tokyo. Just I love the fact that it is just so crazy and busy. Um, I just would love to go there once in my life. Getting closer to it.
Kyle, I'm really sorry. Is there any way I can cut short? The hospital's just calling me.
Yes, go, please. I will wrap up your slides.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, but yeah, thank you so much. I'm really really pleased to have done this, and yeah, any extra Japan trips, contact me. Definitely get an Equal Eats card and get Hyundai glasses that I didn't get to mention.
Okay, thank you. I wish all of
Thank
well.
you.
All right,
Take care. Bye.
Julianne. Well, hopefully everything is okay. But just to wrap it up, this has been really neat, and I'm very inspired to go. If I've picked up anything from this, and Karina, I would love for you to chime in too here, is that it's doable. And that I think what I really liked was her mentioning the research and things that she did at the beginning to make it a trip that was once terrifying to something that's manageable by doing her research, by having an Equal Eats card. The Hyundai glasses, I believe, give you instant translations, which can help you. And I think it does communications, it's audio, which can help you converse in different languages, which is really neat. Some other great tips here: eat at different times than the norm, so there's less rush on the kitchen. Understanding the labeling laws. So there's 28 legal allergens. I do believe that getting up to 28 is very, very recent. Karina, correct me if I'm wrong, but it went from, I think, about 7 not too long ago to this 28. So I'm not sure if it's fully transitioned over or if it is in that process. But there are some very different allergens in that top list.
If you have a look, I've updated the in the chat, there's the allergen labeling in Japan. So there's the mandatory 8, and then I'd copied over so that you've got the full list of 20 came over there as well. So have a look. That's the recommended list there. But it is quite new, that labeling that's come in.
Karina, is it on your bucket list? Do you think you can get over to Japan with your kiddos?
I'd absolutely love to. I'm going to watch this back with my kids so they can see as well. I found it so inspiring, because also that would feel like a huge step for us as well. So we've done quite a lot in Europe now, and I just feel like that would be like the next level to try something like that. But Julianne showing us how she's just like us, feeling afraid as well. And but she's actually managed to do the whole trip. And actually, she said a lot of the places went above and beyond. And like sort of you feel afraid because there's misinformation about there as well. But actually going out and hearing firsthand from Julianne how respectful the places were as well. And I love the fact that at Universal Studios, like once you've given all your allergen information, all the other places have it too. Because I feel like, I mean, I know how I feel as well. There's a lot of repetition with food allergies, and sometimes you have to like brace yourself, take a deep breath, and go, we're going to do this again. We're going to go over the whole thing again. But actually, all the different restaurants like already having your details is just absolutely amazing. And I think it's reassuring that everybody's like quite calm as well. So when you're waiting in the queue, because sometimes I think, well, certainly in Britain, like queuing and things, you can really feel the presence of people behind you when you've got food allergies and you're going through a big long list and you know it's taking a long time. So to hear that people out in Japan are quite, they're respectful and they're patient and they're ready to wait and help you, it's just absolutely incredible. Definitely showing this presentation to my kids.
Yeah, and I agree. It just seems very welcoming, and the hospitality industry earns its name as just being very hospitable. So I think, given that willingness to help and be hospitable is kind of all I need to feel comfortable moving forward in the direction towards Japan, is knowing that I will be met there with that type of accommodation. I love it. So just to wrap up, I just wanted to go over a couple just general resources that I'm a believer in. The co-admin of the Allergy Travels group is Ali Bond, and she runs missallergicreactor.com. She does individualized coaching. So if you need help getting to that next step, to book the ticket, to get extra advice on a specific location, or just the steps to get there, she's a great resource, as well as with food allergy getaways, gluten-free vacations. You're looking at Europe, we have Cataline from her team who runs Celiacs in Europe, which is a great resource, as well as the Allergy Travels group. A reminder, equaleats.com is where you can get Japanese translation cards, as well as 57 other languages. There's other great resources. Google Translate can absolutely be a great resource too, just to get those instant translations that can help you navigate these crazy busy cities. And then review sites like Spoken, TripAdvisor, Find Me Gluten Free might be able to give you a starting point to where some safe places might be for your specific allergens. I will just ask very quickly a poll question. We're always looking for more feedback, and I will say, after this webinar, how do you feel about international travel? Do you feel more confident, same, or less confident? This helps us get a little sense of impact. All right. Well, wasn't a big sample size, but 100% impact. So we'll take that as a good thing. All right. And then lastly, that's it for this webinar. But I do want to thank everybody who did join today on this webinar. We will be posting a archived version of it, so you can watch it after the fact. We're going to get it on equaleats.com. We're going to probably start to do some different countries. Is that right, Karina? Where we can maybe circle the globe a little bit more. So if you have ideas of what different places you'd like us to bring an expert, bring a seasoned traveler in to talk about, please let us know. You have Karina's email address there. Mine's Kyle@equaleats.com. And we're looking to provide more helpful resources and events in the future. So thank you all for coming. Thank you, Karina, for helping me host today. And we hope to see everybody next time.
Thank you. Thanks for joining, everyone. Certainly, and please email me, karina@equaleats.com, if you have any questions or if you've got any ideas for future Q&As as well. It's been great today. Thank you.
Thank you.